Merry Christmas. This is Nana Wayman. I'm going to read you the book that says The Lion and the Carpenter. Okay? There was an oasis in the Garden of Eden where every species of the animal lived happily and free. Flowers, fruit, delicious food, and pure water springs were at the disposal. Fortunately for them, man had not yet arrived on the scene to disturb their peace and tranquility. One night, a duck had a most extraordinary dream. The queen of the ducks appeared and told him that he must leave his home, and why he had to go, know what he would find when he got there. The following morning, when he awoke, the duck remembered his dream. He knew that he must obey the queen's instruction to leave. After eating a hearty breakfast, he began his long journey, first flying and then swimming. As the days passed, the duck became very lonely and he longed for a companion. However, eventually his journey came to an end. After traveling for 100 days and nights, the duck was very tired. He stopped to rest on the rock, which was jutting out of the water. To his surprise, he heard the queen's voice. She scolded him and said that he had made a big mistake. Instead of traveling toward the east, as he had done, he should have traveled toward the west. However, now that he was here, he must stay and face a terrible creature, man. The queen told the duck how man was very cruel to all the other animals. He made them his slaves, and sometimes he even killed them. Naturally, the duck was very frightened, and he began to search for a place to hide from the strange creature. He came to a cave where a young lion cub was lying in the sun. The duck was so pleased to see another living creature that he did not hesitate in approaching the lion. The two animals soon became friends. The duck told the lion about his long journey and how he had made a mistake by traveling in the wrong direction. In turn, the lion explained that he was alone in the world. He thought his parents had been captured by men and was determined to avenge his deed. He had decided the only way to do this was to fight men. The duck also wanted to live in peace, so he promised to help the lion to unite all the animals of the forest in order to fight against men. Having agreed on their plan, the two friends decided to go to sleep, and they would begin their fight for survival against men the next day. When morning came, the two friends did indeed begin their task. They set off into the forest to search for the other animal. It was not easy for the little duck to keep in step with the lion, who was so much bigger. After a while, a four-legged animal appeared in front of them. He said that he was a donkey and was running away from men. This creature wanted to make him his slave, and the donkey knew he would have to work very hard, and he would probably be given very little to eat in return. He also knew that he would be treated cruelly in other ways. The lion told the donkey that he was organizing an army against men, made up of all animals of the forest. The donkey was very interested and asked if he could join. The lion was very pleased to have the donkey in his army and gave him the rank of corporal. The three animals continued on into the forest, and soon they met another four-legged creature who called himself a horse. He also was running away from men and was very glad to meet with the three little friends. The horse told how men had the habit of jumping on his back and making him gallop very fast. At other times, men would make him pull a heavy cart, and if he dared to stop, he was beaten with a stick. The other 3 animals were horrified at this and told the horse about the army they were forming. He willingly agreed to join them. My nose. The lion continued to march, followed by the other 3 members of the army. Eventually, they all came upon yet another 4-legged animal, but this one had 2 humps on his back. He said he was a camel, and that he was trying to avoid a strange creature called men. The camel related how frightened he was of men who wanted to make him his slave. The lion asked just how strong men was, and the camel replied that the lion was certainly stronger than men. But the problem was not one of strength. The fact remained that men were so cunning, he always managed to win because of this. This made the lion more determined than ever to overcome men, and so he asked the camel if he would like to join their army. Now, the camel agreed and so joined the other animal, who intended to help the lion in his battle against men. So the small army, with the lion in front, set out once again in their search for men. After a while, they came to a clearing in the forest. There they saw a strange, upright creature carrying some wooden board. They had never seen anything like him before. He was not covered in feathers or fur like themselves, but wore a strange colored object. Of course, these were men's clothes, but the animal did not know this. The duck thought that this was perhaps men, but as none of them were sure, they decided to be very careful. The lion decided to confront this strange creature, but the donkey and the rest of the animal were afraid. In fact, it was men, a carpenter, who, after seeing the lion, decided to capture him. In order to do this, man had to use his cunning. He told the lion that he was ill and wondered whether the lion could help him get well. The lion was naturally very flattered to be asked for his assistance. He decided this creature had realized how intelligent the lion was, so he agreed to help. The carpenter explained how unhappy he was because man made him work day and night. On hearing this, the lion was more determined than ever to find men and kill them. The lion asked the carpenter what he intended to do with the wooden board. He said that he was going to make a wooden box in which the panther could hide whenever man was nearby. The panther was a fierce animal with sharp claws, and the carpenter was extremely frightened of him. He was quite desperate because if the box was not ready soon, the panther would tear him to pieces. The lion thought that if anyone should have a place to hide from men, it should be himself. After all, he was the king of the forest. He persuaded the carpenter to make the box for him by pinning him against a tree with his paws. The carpenter was secretly very pleased, as this had been his plan all along. He thought himself very clever. He had not said who he was. The lion still did not know what he was actually meant. He had convinced the lion to have a hiding place built by pretending that he was afraid. The carpenter was keen to begin building the box, and it would soon be obvious why he was so anxious that it should be the strongest box he had ever made. So the carpenter began to work. He invited the lion to inspect the box. It must be large enough to have plenty of air holes. The lion got inside the box and tried to make himself comfortable. It was a tight squeeze. The carpenter's plan had worked. As soon as the lion was inside, he fastened the lid down with some nails that was so large that not even the lion would be able to open it. The lion, who had not understood what was happening, asked to be let out. The carpenter said he was sorry, but he had no intention of releasing an animal who wanted to kill men himself. He had proved that man was so cunning, he was able to capture the king of the forest, who was so much stronger than himself. It had only taken the use of a very simple trap. This left the lion with no choice but to call for his army. They were extremely sad that their friends had been trapped in such a way. The lion told them that he had been very foolish to think that he could outwit man, and he had decided to abandon his plan to avenge his parent. They had no alternative but to disband their army. They all agreed to go their separate ways. The donkey would return to pulling carts, the horse would return to galloping with his master, the cow would return to the desert and wait for a caravan with which he could work, and lastly the duck would return from where he had come. At least he believed that he would be free of men there. The end. And this is a story from your Nana Wayman. And I hope you have a lot of presents, and I love you too. You is a very pretty girl too. Okay? Merry Christmas.